I did not think that is how that would end. Wow. Kira literally got caught and then escaped. Oh my. Oh my. That was well done. Well done. That was surprising. I did not expect that type of escape. I'm thoroughly impressed with Kira's intelligence, his skill, his way to get out, and then just completely erase all the details that, everybody knew about already. His face, his name, to where he lived. I mean, he got rid of it all because he managed to change the way he looks and all that, and everything's gone. So all this progression pretty much was lost. And now Kira is off running about, which, as I've already stated in the previous 2 reviews, one of the scariest things about Kira is not necessarily his stand, because his stand is simple in nature. It's that he's a killer. And as a killer with this type of stand, him being able to hide in the shadows and set up shit is the dangerous thing about his ability. And him being able to hide once again sets him up to where he is in a good position. And now that he knows what type of abilities that each individual stand user has, like, Josuke to Jotaro to, Koichi and all of them, now that he knows the abilities they have, he now can plan against him. He will no longer get, I guess, cocky and then let them out, or fool him to where he will lose in a fight. The way this was set up was just so perfect, because now Kira has exactly what is his strong suit. Hiding in the shadows, and when attacking them when they least expect it. And that's exactly the way he's probably going to be fighting in the future. And I just love the way that was done, because majority of this fight, if you think about it, Kira was going to lose. He straight up was pretty much about to lose. But he managed to get out. Somehow he managed to get out. Very lucky, but he managed to get out. The whole purpose of this fight, I think to say, was mainly about Kira learning his opponent's abilities. Because think about one of the big things about this episode and the previous episode. Kira last week was saying that his heart attack, sheer heart attack, was invincible. It was undefeatable, no weaknesses. He was getting really fucking cocky. But then Koichi proved how easy it was to deal with his stand, because he made it heavy. And then you had to where Kira, he had his hand slammed to the ground, and he literally was fucked. He had his hand start hurting, he caused a scene in where the diner was, you had to where, these thugs were trying to mug him. I mean, he was causing a scene because of what Koichi did, and he was a person that was getting cocky, thinking his sheer heart attack was invincible, or no weaknesses. But now we know it's not, and he now knows it's not. And then the way that was kind of point blank stated, how he realizes now that he kind of faced defeat, or he felt defeat, and he also saw how Josuke was able to easily deal with his sheer heart attack and return his hand back to him. That just proves that he's probably going to learn a lot from this. It wasn't necessarily our characters just learning about the whereabouts of Kira, who he is, and his stand abilities. It was more of Kira learning as well. And I like this type of villain that was really showcased in this arc. This is like the calm before the storm arc. Like, this is the arc that does all the setup for the real battle. Because now Kira knows what to expect. He now knows how much distance he needs to be away from certain stand users, like someone like Josuke, or someone like Koichi, someone like Jotaro. He now knows how fast Jotaro is. You'll get hints that, he can use the Waldo. He probably realizes now about that ability. He knows about Koichi's ability. He knows about Josuke's ability. He probably knows about the hand. He'll probably do his own research. So when you think about it like this man is so set up right now because he now knows what to expect. He won't be fooled like he was in this fight. I mean, look at one of the big things about this, episode that was showcased about Jotaro. We always know Jotaro, even though he's pretty damn strong. Like, this man will aura you, and you will get fucked up. But Jotaro has shown many times in the past that he's very intelligent. He does use his brain to fight. It's been showcased many times in Part 4 and even in Part 3. But the thing is that Kira let down his guard. He thought since Jotaro was so hurt, he was weakened so bad, that Jotaro, after hitting him that first time, since it was just so weak, he thought Jotaro was out of strength. He literally thought he couldn't fight anymore. And so he dropped his guard and just walked up into the range of Star Platinum, and then he got his face beat up. Kira let down his guard, he got cocky. That's one of his weaknesses we have seen now, from last week's episode and this. And I feel like the way he acted in this episode he's probably going to grow from this. He's probably going to state that he now knows that he shouldn't probably get that cocky. He should probably realize that what he's doing now, he needs to be a little bit more cautious, a little bit more stealthy. He needs to become like what he normally is, a serial killer. He needs to be sneaky, do his things behind the scenes, set up bombs and stuff to probably kill all the Joe stars and stuff. He just needs to be very calm and slow. He doesn't need to be someone that's rushing in and all that. And the way he probably is going to learn from this fight, I just cannot wait. It's going to be just so freaking epic. But let's get into some of the other details, like certain lines that were said. You know what I'm talking about. Jotaro's line, when he walks up after having all these holes in him, like, this man is just bleeding out. Like, I'm surprised he's even standing in that state. But this man walks up and he's like, oh, that's a nice watch. It'll be a shame if it breaks. Your face, that is. My boy! My boy! This man straight out does this badass one-liner while he has holes all on his body. And he's like, your face is about to get broken. And then it looks like, you know, Jotaro can't actually use those, you know, words and actually be effective against, you know, Kira. Like, Kira wasn't going to get his face knocked in. But then when he got close up to him in personal, you have to where Jotaro just beats the shit out of this man and just whacks and whams him and all that. And this man's like falling to the damn ground. He just gets hit right back up. And all. This man just getting pummeled. I'm like, yo, this is the Jotaro I know and love. This man that uses this, you know, crazy tactics to sneak someone closer to him and then he fucks them up. Oh my god, that is just such a good scene. It was such a badass scene. Probably one of the best scenes. You know what? There's a lot of good scenes in this, you know, episode, actually. Not just that scene, but there was many scenes throughout this episode that was just equally badass. Even for Kira, but all the characters in this episode, I guess besides Okuyasu, really had a badass moment. A really, really badass moment. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about Koichi's scene in this episode. Koichi, this boy, I've talked about it many times. Now, Koichi, as a side character, it surprises me how much screen time he gets. I've talked about it many times in other arcs and episodes he's had full focus on him, like all the spotlight is on Koichi. I've talked about it that it's just so bizarre. I mean, he has more screen time than Josuke. It's kind of like this should be Koichi's Bizarre Adventure instead of, you know, Josuke's. And I'm like, yo, it's completely surprising. And we see now this kid that was very shy. Like, this kid that was just a kid you would think would not be a good character since the beginning. Like, when the series first started, I didn't think Koichi would be this good of a character. I've talked about time and time again. I didn't think he would be a character that would be this awesome. Like, I would be honestly saying he's in my, like, top 3, top 5 favorite characters of this part of JoJo. He's such a good character. To think this little shy boy that literally couldn't put up a fight, was very weak and all that, is now able to say such badass things like he said to Kira and mock him in death. That was just something so badass. Like, let's just talk about that line. Koichi knows he's gonna die. He realizes that his stand, Act 3, cannot fight anymore. The weight now on sheer heart attack was no longer on it. He had to make a decision. Does he make it to where Kira is heavy, his stand is heavy, the little bomb is heavy? He had to make a decision. And no matter what decision he made, it was pretty much going to end in the result of him dying. And when he finally chose the sheer heart attack stand, the little tank, to be weighted down, Kira got over to him and literally impelled Koichi. Impelled this man. But before that happened, Koichi said something that was just so badass. I just gotta be amazed, like, how good of his character is. Like, he straight up mocked Kira, this serial killer, and was like, you're not gonna sleep well at night at all. This brat found out your identity. This brat made you go through all this. This brat is gonna cause it where you'll never sleep well again, because if I can find out, what do you think that others can't? Others will definitely find out. And the way that was done was such a good scene, because Kira literally got mocked by a man that was literally going to die. He got mocked, and Kira couldn't do shit to stop it. That was a good scene. The way Koichi just took it like a man, got impelled, but at the very least, he said some really badass lines to Kira. It's like, fuck you. That's exactly what he said. He's like, fuck you. I don't care if I die. Fuck you. So, very good stuff. Very, very good stuff on Koichi's part. Definitely give that man a lot of points after what I witnessed in this episode. Now, getting into other characters, let's talk about Josuke. So, Josuke, he had a very good scene as well. This man, he used a very, very good strategy against Kira. And, I mean, this isn't the first time we've seen that, you know, Josuke is intelligent. We know he's kind of smart and all that, but we just don't know how far of a level of intelligence he is. But we do know he is smart. the way he played Kira like that, and he's like, wait, why would you ask me for help when I'm not a doctor? I mean, the only way you would know I could help someone is if I have a stand, and you see my stand. And he's like, that means you would have to see my stand to be able to know I could heal you. Because a person would normally never ask me these type of questions. Like, when I go into, you know, a gambling joint or whatever and all that, they say, like, what's your age? Like, you're not old enough to be here. Like, you can't get beer or anything. He gets his age asked all the time. So he can't do these certain things. So why would a person that's in a business suit like this, that's bleeding in the same area as Jotaro and Koichi, why would he ask him for help? Unless he saw their stand. So when you think about it like that, the way Josuke played Kira was such a good move, and that just, it felt so good just to know that we don't have a character that's just about, you know, beating someone up, but someone that uses his mind to fight. And that's one of the main reasons why I love JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, is just because of stuff like that, just to see how different it is from the normal shonen. Now, another scene too, Okuyasu, even though I already said briefly in this video that he didn't have as big of a moment to shine as the other characters, he did have a good moment when it came to kind of protecting everybody from the explosion when Kira was using an explosion, with sheer heart attack and all that when he was escaping. You have to admit that, at the very least, Okuyasu was able to do something. It just makes me very upset that Okuyasu, as a character, I wish he was a little bit smarter, because if he was a smarter character, like someone like Jotaro, Koichi, or Josuke, he would probably be one of the most OP characters in this entire damn part. He would definitely be. With his stand ability, the hand, he would be absolutely invincible, almost. Almost. Not completely, because there is stands that can counter stands, but just to see how this man, literally, if he had a good brain on his shoulders, what type of shit he could do, it just stuns me. I really hope maybe Okuyasu goes through some character development to where he uses his stand or something, because I would like to see that in the future of Part 4, because it would be such a waste. It really would, for such a very cool stand. His stand is very cool, and I feel like it's not being used to the potential it has. Now, another scene, too, let's talk about Kira. Now, I need to get into him. So, Kira's escape, all around badass. This man managed to escape from a person that can use time stop, to a person that could heal any injury, to a person that could literally add weight by just sound, to a person that has, like, the hand that could literally remove space. This man managed to escape. He got out of there. He literally got out of there. And this man isn't like an immortal vampire and stuff. This man's not a pillar man. He's nothing like that. This man is a normal human being at the end of the day. Besides stand abilities, he's a normal human being. And the balls he had to have, like those big balls he had to have, when he cut off his own hand to, you know, just escape, that was such a good moment, just to show how far he would go to stay alive. How far he will go to continue his survival, to have, you know, good, peaceful nights. That determination by Kira concretes him as probably one of my personal favorite villains of JoJo. Now, I love Dio. Dio is such a good villain. I've said this many times. Dio is a very, very good villain. I love his ability. I loved his presence in Part 3 and Part 1. I loved Dio. He's such a good character. I love the opening song, the way he fucking interrupt the opening song to use his ability. It was just such a good stuff. It was very good scenes. But I have to admit, when it comes to the complexity or some of these motives of a character, I'm enjoying Kira. I'm really enjoying this man. The way he's acting in these certain situations, the way he shows this determination, and the way he's able to even cut off his own hand to escape. It's such good stuff to see from a villain. And I just hope he learns and develops from this fight and becomes even formidable in the episodes to come. So that's about it. That's my thoughts on this episode. How do you feel about Kira changing his face and all that? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please be safe. Chibi out.